I'm going to be putting pressure on you even when you're not punching. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that type of pressure. And it takes a seasoned type of athlete to know how to deal with.
Holy Jake Paul has shocked the world. He's done it again. He's done the unthinkable. He's done the impossible. And that's a long headline, but that's what it's going to say.
Very unique situation I've never come across, but treating with the same respect that I give all my competition.
Anthony Joshua sends a cruel warning to Jake Paul, revealing that only if he's ready to get knocked out ruthlessly will he come into the ring. Despite claiming brutal warnings for each other, both fighters are inspired by each other's skill as well. Joshua, who initially declares that he's gonna be tough for Jake Paul, then is convinced to this point that Jake is actually worth having a competition. He noticed that all the matches he had before were not putting this much pressure on him.
From a physical aspect, I couldn't even mention it at the minute, but from a mental aspect, he offered me to fight. Normally, I'm offering people fights. He's told me, come and fight. So he believes in himself.
In contrast, Jake Paul did not keep himself behind. He portrays himself as more worthy than Joshua, revealing that he has some major qualities that would help him to get the better of Joshua. He claims that right after the day of the fight with Joshua, the headlines would favor him. The internet will be blown with his headlines.
Man, speed. You know, I beat him in laser tag when we first met in Dubai. He didn't see me coming. I was popping around the corners, shooting him nonstop, eliminated him multiple times, and that's because I'm tricky. I'm sneaky, and I'm fast.
Headshot, or are you going to the body?
Both, baby. It's going to be a long night for him.
In addition, he said that he is confident enough to face such massive competition. He's ready all the time to fight anyone. The closer fight week is coming, the more faith he is showing in himself. He has made the best version of himself for this, and for him, it is not a new thing to get warnings from the opponents, as he has been facing this fuss from the very start of his fights.
Man, I started eating more pasta, started gaining weight, less running, more weightlifting, bench press, squat. I feel like an NFL player getting ready to take on the big guys, and bringing in heavyweights who we had to buy 2 commercial airline seats for because they can't fit in one seat. So sparring massive guys and just believing in myself. That's all that matters. I'm ready to fight at all times. This is what we do it for, is these big moments. You don't get paid for sparring. You don't get paid for hitting the licks in the gym. I want the big fights and the best people.
On the other side, Jake Paul also reveals that he has some hidden talent to get rid of the negative thoughts that come into his mind to face Joshua. He said that he always wanted to knock out big people, and the 2 names he wished the most were Joshua and Canelo. Now the time has come to focus on his goal as he is near his destination.
Yeah, so I look at the negative thoughts like a car on a highway passing, and I acknowledge the thought because you don't want to be too crazy, but then you just let it pass. And if it's a thought that you can let motivate you, then you pull it in, you pull the car in, and you put it into your pocket, and then you got some motivation in your pocket. But otherwise, you can just let the cars go past on the freeway, and then you bring in the positive thoughts, the love, the gratitude from this great earth of God, and just be grateful for being alive and focus on the good.
In response to Tommy Fury, who's not convinced to fight with Jake even for 10 million pounds, Jake showed his full faith in himself, claiming that he does not care for these trashy guys who are not adding value in the fight world. His statements indicate that he has been preparing for a long time to face Joshua in front of him. To get Joshua down, he must first bear all this nonsense first.
Believe it or not, are actually made. Anthony can attest to that.
That's correct.
That's why we're up here on this stage, because we're both always down to run it and throw hands. Tommy's, lost. He's a lost puppy. No one watches his fights. I'm the only thing that he's got, so he should be on his knees begging for the fight. We did offer him it, and he said he wanted more time. So we tried. We've been trying. Same with KSI. These guys just don't want to step up to the plate. I'm not afraid of anyone or anything, so I'll go to the bigger challenge, a bigger fight, and do bigger things with Joshua, and that's why we're here today.
Going forward, Jake added that whatever Joshua plans to do with him in the ring, he's ready to turn his expectations down, as he would also come with the same preparations. This is a huge opportunity for him to take his career to its peak, and he's never gonna miss out.
Yeah, quick, fast, great footwork, big chin, take shots, big heart, lion-hearted, sneaky knockout punches coming. Lots of great work to the body. People underestimate my jab. So, yeah, and I think he says I haven't seen those tricks, but I'm in there with champions, you know, sparring, Shakur, all these people bringing in world champions. So he's got to be ready, and I know he will be, and that's what I like.
Moving towards the predictions part, Chael Sonnen recently revealed that this fight is so impulsively held that he cannot believe this is gonna happen. He thinks that maybe one of the two fighters would refuse to fight the other, but it is not gonna happen because both fighters are really confident and self-made men who won't spare this great opportunity.
Jake Paul wouldn't necessarily be motivated to come out and tell the world, no, I'm not fighting Joshua. He might be better off letting the headlines go. Now, Joshua might be motivated to come out and say, no, I'm going to pursue, and then whatever his plan was. But when neither camp would deny it, right, while not being a confirmation, historically in the sport of combat, that makes you believe it's coming together.
Adding to his shock, Sonnen said that if Jack wants to keep making it an exhibition night, then Francis would be a better opponent for him. But fighting with Joshua will eventually get him down because Joshua is such a massive fighter that Jake can never beat him. For Sonnen, Jake is still on the way to becoming great enough to fight Joshua.
Joshua would be so frightening. I mean, that would actually be a frightening proposition to be a undersized, underexperienced boxer and be put in there with somebody as skilled as Joshua. So that part is very cool. I heard Paul Felder speak on this. Paul was very open. He said, look, I've been critical of Jake Paul, but this takes a different level of courage. He's got my respect. Okay. I agree with Paul, and I think that that's going to be the world's reaction.
Giving his final predictions, Sonnen said that he does not agree with those who think this fight would be a 50-50 in favor of both fighters. He strongly disagrees with this prediction. As for him, there is only a small chance of winning for Jake. He can visualize the situation of the fight night, which would be seen as Joshua beating up Jake, and in the end, Jake will have to go out of the game.
This fight is 95% people that are tuning in to see Jake Paul get beat. There's 5% that believe in him and think that he can do well. And where you know that 50-50 is skewed versus my numbers of 95-5, which maybe 90-10 is a little bit closer, is just done at the pay window. If 50% of people are tuning in to see him do well, that means 50% of the people think that he can do well. All right, great. Well, then we'd have even money at the window.
Similar to Chael's predictions, KSI acknowledges the skills of Jake in terms of fighting with Joshua, but he shares his thoughts in favor of Joshua. He expects it to be more than an ordinary fight. For KSI, Joshua should blow Jake out as he deserves to be the winner of this fight. He thinks that the only suitable fighter to get the belt at the end should be Joshua.
Jake is fine, AJ.
Oh my God,
yeah,
there we go. Straight
that's
into
a great
it.
one. Announced.
And you know what? I'm going to give him props.
Fair.
Okay,
Fair play, Jake.
It's a big fight.
What about AJ?
It's a big
no
fight.
props for AJ.
I mean, AJ should knock him out.
Oh.
It is a weird one. Like, am I just being stupid? Like, is he not just gonna wig him?
AJ
Like, is
by
he-
soap being dropped in prison stuff. AJ by brutal Bonnie Blue scene. AJ by just something vile.
But like, obviously, right? So like, what's happening? What am I?
They're both gonna get so much fucking cashola.
KSI then addressed some potential dynamics of the fight, revealing that if he is concerned with money, then obviously the fight would be long. But being brutally honest, this fight is a linear victory for Joshua. He can easily win because Jake is underexperienced, not knowing all about the boxing tips and tricks. He seems a bit more confident about Joshua's victory.
Well, do you think it's a lose-lose for AJ?
No, because I reckon
Besides, I mean, look, money-wise, it's a
Win.
dub.
Yeah.
But like,
if he flatlines Jake, dub.
everyone's
That's
saying
it,
like, okay,
yeah.
we expected this. If he,
It's still good,
if
though. A
it
lot
goes
of-
12 rounds,
It's
AJ
that's bad.
is
Yeah, that's
That's
bad,
bad.
but
yeah.
surely you've got the confidence to know that, like, I'm gonna bum him. Like,
Whoa. I will not
pretty
be paying
much.
to view that. I will pay to watch a good fight. But the thing is, I think that they know that a lot of people watch every Jake Paul fight hoping
Yeah.
he loses. And that if we can deliver that devastating loss,
yeah,
then we up.
It's still a clip of him knocking out Jake Paul if it happens.
Turning towards the final words, KSI added that through his experience with Logan Paul, he can understand the situation going on right now between Jake and Joshua. As he is an experienced fighter as well, he claims that the fight weighs heavily for Jake, even though he believes in himself and is capable of fighting. But Joshua is something bigger than his approach. Thus, KSI's prediction is clear that it is a definite win for Joshua and a ruthless loss for Jake.
Big guy.
Big guy.
What, how
Jesus
tall is he?
Christ.
I'm trying to think what the face-off's going to
He's
be like.
like
6'4"?
6'4".
Yeah, minimum as well.
Bro, he's got the reach. He's got the length. He's got the power.
But like, okay,
he wins on every level.
I know.
Logan
what
had
the
all the
fuck
stats
is
on
Jake
you,
Paul
though?
doing?
Am I right in
It
thinking
don't make
Logan
sense.
had most stats against you? I know it's not.
No, it's
the same
different.
thing.
No, it's different. Like,
Two-time heavyweight champion of the world.
still the same weight cat. He's like,
He didn't have those stats.
but like, surely, I'm thinking of Jake Paul. Like, I know he's obviously got all in his head. Like, he's gonna like, he's world champion. He's really good. But like, surely in these kind of fights, he can't be legitimately thinking I'm gonna win.
Before sharing his opinion in favor of any of the fighters, Sean Jones surprisingly claims that he still cannot believe the fight is going to happen. As this clash put many analysts in shock, Jones goes in the same way because for them, this is something really unpredictable. They never expected that with this difference in size and experience, the bout would ever happen.
I think Jake Paul finally realises what he's got himself in for fighting Anthony Joshua. This is not going to go good for him. Every day that passes, it seems more and more like this fight is legit, and it's going to happen. Let's put it this way. We got Jake Paul versus 57-year-old Mike Tyson. Why would this fight against Anthony Joshua not go down? I know everyone's saying that this fight isn't going to happen, but I don't see how this is so far-fetched. They've just had a press conference, which I didn't expect so soon. But yeah, Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua sat down, talked about the fight, and then had a face-off. Now, the press conference is largely uneventful. It's 46 minutes long, and I did the honours of watching it.
For Sean, it is unfair to discourage Jake as he's making progress to the fight world, then people should support him, rather than criticizing him for taking this bout seriously. He mentioned how Joshua also acknowledges Jake's skills, so no one should underestimate him. If one wants to make improvements and go for a high chance, then do not make him feel a victim of low self-esteem.
And I'm not trying to defend Jake here. I want to see him get knocked out. Not seriously hurt, but I want to see him lose. But Joshua, very accomplished boxer. Arguably one of the best heavyweights to do it of this era. Joshua didn't say Jake was a bad boxer. He said he's actually talented, very motivated, very focused, got a good team around him. So when people say Jake can't box, and you've got no accolades whatsoever, and then I say Jake can box, and he's fairly decent within the context of these videos. I'm saying he's made improvements, he's fought some decent people for his level, that is. And then people call me out and say that I don't know anything about fighting because I say that Jake is decent, he's made improvements.
Breaking down Joshua's game plan, Sean reveals that the only purpose of Joshua is to tear Jake mentally first and then physically. He gave his final predictions, which are in favor of Joshua, but he thinks that Joshua will get a few punches from Jake to raise his spirit high. This is what he will do on purpose, so that the game will be more interesting for him, as he's always keen to accept challenges.
I think what Joshua's game plan is, not that I'm a boxing expert, is he's going to come into this fight and look to hurt Jake Paul, especially in that first and second round. But I think he's going to try and mentally break Jake, and then he's going to go for the knockouts. I think in Joshua's mind, he's going to want to teach him a lesson. And what better way to do it than to piece somebody up and then knock them out? Because then the narrative can't be, oh, you got me with a lucky punch. Oh, the outcome could have been different. No, beat him up for a few rounds and then get the knockouts. So my early prediction would be Joshua by second round or third round KO. By choice.
Another analyst, Ariel Helwani, talks about the legacy of Joshua, showing that though this is not a suitable matchup in the boxing world, but such kind of things keep happening in history. These matchups seem more interesting where one is about to get the peak of his career, while the other is maybe going to be dismissed.
Unified heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist in 2012. His last fight was for the title against Daniel Dubois and got knocked out. That was his last fight. So it's not like he's washed up. It's not like he's fighting bums and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I get annoyed at the people who are doing like the sanctimonious thing, that this is a stain on AJ's legacy, that this is a stain on the sport of boxing, because you often hear that from people who actually don't watch boxing, don't know anything about AJ, don't know anything about the sport, and it's like, save me the sanctimony, because as you probably know, boxing has been doing fights like this.
Further, he explicitly says that though there is nothing special in Jake's skill line, his bold decision to fight Joshua is still appreciated. For Joshua, it is just a minor task to do, as he can easily get rid of Jake in just early rounds. He did not ignore Jake's talents, as he has been a great fighter as well, which is why he's getting his chance to face off with Joshua.
I think this is a... I think if Jake Paul beats Anthony Joshua, I think it's one of the biggest upsets in the history of boxing. The odds wouldn't suggest that, but are you telling me that Jake Paul was more accomplished than Buster Douglas? He wasn't. And I'm not going to get into like what's the bigger upset, but like this is a Herculean task on his hands. Anthony Joshua is still a very, very good fighter. His last fight was for the belt. And there is nothing in Jake Paul's resume that would suggest that he can knock him out or beat him, but he's going to go for it. And I have a lot of respect for him, you know, for picking this opponent, because he could have picked anyone.
Furthermore, he added that the fight is heavily at risk for Jake. There could be some flexibility from Joshua, but only if he lets Jake be relaxed. But if he simply knocks him out in a few minutes earlier than the fighting would seem boring, and no one would ever be interested in watching Jake on screen. The whole thing depends on Joshua's own willingness, whether he wants to fight this long or end it as soon as possible.
The risk is, if he gets knocked down in the first round, the whole thing comes crumbling down. Like the whole Jake Paul experience, there's going to be no demand to see him continue
But if
to
he
fight.
gets into the fourth
Absolutely.
round and you're like, oh, this is closer than I thought.
But
Because he's lost before, and I don't think
yeah, he lost a close decision to Tommy Fury in Saudi Arabia on a Sunday night. No one even remembers it. And since then, he's got some great wins. He hasn't been like knocked the F out. And so I think that that's what everyone is dying to see. And I think that the whole thing comes crumbling down. Here's the problem. If the fight goes past the second round, you know, Francis lost to Jake in the second, Francis lost to Anthony Joshua in the second round and got absolutely obliterated, right? I mean, it was shocking.
To summarize, the bout holds very warm feelings in every heart, as both fighters are great in their own ways. Everyone is looking forward to this fight. Even the renowned analysts cannot believe that this fight is really going to happen. As the fight week comes closer, fans are getting more excited to watch this. Jake with his speed and power and Joshua with his grappling and punching skills are going to make the clash more interesting.